All right, geometry crew, making our way to the next section, 12.2, which is all about chords and arcs of circles. There are a ton of theorems in this section, so make sure you read those theorems. I'm going to go through the first three problems on page 776 about chords and arcs. It is extremely important that you read through this section, okay? Also read through my notes. There is so much information in this section, and it's not difficult to understand. So just make sure you read through it, or these questions aren't going to make any sense to you, and then you're not going to do well on the quiz, all right? So we have this picture, all right? They draw us this picture. I'm going to use purple, all right? And we have a circle, all right? We have a circle, and then they draw these chords inside of the circle. So this is a chord, okay? And they have another chord going this way, another chord going this way, and then they connect it here. And this is point A, B, C, D, and this is O. Now, in the directions, they call this circle O. So we know that that is the center of the circle, okay? And they tell us the measure of arc CD is equal to 50 degrees. And they say that CA, segment CA, is congruent to segment BD. All right? And we have to answer these questions. So they tell us for number one, and we're using this diagram, for problem number one, they say, what is the measure of arc AB? All right, what is the measure of arc AB? And they say, how do you know? The most important question there is, how do you know that? And if you didn't go back and read this section, you won't know. All right? Well, I know that CD, all right, CD is 50 degrees because they tell us right here. If this is 50 degrees, according to our theorems, the central angle, this angle right here, which is a central angle, okay, is also 50 degrees. And then look at here. We have vertical angles right here. If this is 50 degrees, this is 50 degrees, right? They're vertical angles. They're congruent. And this is another central angle that is intercepting this arc. All right? You can see this angle is intercepting that arc. So arc AB also has to be 50 because of everything that I just said. This CD is 50. The central angle must be 50. This is vertical angles here, so this angle here must be 50, which means this arc is 50, all right? Number two says, what is true of arc CA and arc BD? All right, arc CA and BD. So the arc that they're talking about, remember, these are minor arcs. They're only named with two letters. So it's this arc and this arc. those green arcs, what we know is they are congruent. Arc CA is congruent to arc BD. All right? Because in a circle, congruent chords, all right, have congruent arcs. So they tell us here in the directions that chord CA is congruent to chord BD, all right? So if CA, this line segment, is congruent to this line segment, DB, then the arcs that they intercept are exactly the same as well. And once again, that's another theorem in the chapter. All right? So let's take a look at number 3. All right? Number 3 says, since CA is equal to BD, the lengths of those, what do you know about the distance of CA, and that's line segment CA, and line segment BD from the center? So what they're saying here is, since the length CA and length BD are equal, what do you know about the distance of these two line segments from the center of my circle? Well, what I can tell you is the distance from here to here, and it's always perpendicular. All right? And the distance from here to here, all right, those are congruent distances. All right? Those are congruent. So the distances are equal because in a circle, congruent chords are equidistant from the center. And you're going to use that in the section, all right, in the chapter. So I did these first 3 problems, all right? If you take a look at the book, all right, this is the pages in the book now. We have these problems that are just going to ask you to conclude something. What do you know from the given information? Okay? Now, on here, they want you to find the value of x, all right? Well, like, take a look at this problem. They're asking for this line segment. All right. Well, if this line segment here is 14, okay, that line segment is 14, notice that it's equidistant away from the center of our circle, which means this line segment must be 14. All right. And then you're going to start getting into problems over here where we are going to be using Pythagorean theorem. All right. Here's some Pythagorean theorem problems. And even with number 14 there, swing this radius up over here. So the radius is actually going to look like that now. See, that is the hypotenuse of a right triangle, which is x. That's what you're solving for. All right? Over here, you're going to have to do x divided by 2. All right? That's going to be that leg. That leg will be 6. That leg will be 12. All right? So just take your time with these problems. You'll do okay. Make sure you read the section, and hopefully everybody is staying healthy.